Wow, that's already a lot of people. And how many of you have started a new project with TYPO3 13? Wow, that's also good. So I don't have anything to teach you. You can leave now and go to the other one. So I'm Lena Wolf, and I'm the team leader of the documentation team. And so I'm responsible for the rendering and also part of writing of such pages that you can find on docs.typo3.org. And we have a dedicated TYPO3 site package tutorial. And my alarm is telling me that my talk is starting. Okay, I put it on sleep now. It will remain in 10 minutes. It's not good. Okay, and we have this dedicated site package tutorial, and we have been working on it to make it TYPO3 13 ready, because actually with TYPO3 13 a lot of cool new features came into the TYPO3 core, and when you start with a new site package, we would really recommend to also start with the new features. And while you're updating, that's another story. You can start using the new features, but you don't have to. Most of the old ways of building a TYPO3 site, they are still there in TYPO3 13. But if you start with a new web page, you should start with the new features, I think. So let's start with the start. This is Halma, my poodle. And this was at a dog dancing competition. So our prerequisite would be that we are starting with TYPO3 version 13.4 installation. We could theoretically start with a non-composer classic installation, but for to keep things simple, we are starting now with a composer-based installation in DDEV, because I think that's more or less what most people are using when they are developing their new projects now. So we can use this quick start from the Getting Started guide to quickly set up a new TYPO3 installation. Most of you have probably done this before, so we can skip over it quite fast and can get started with those kind of information while you are here. So the first thing we need to do is download and install the site package. You could, of course, start creating a site package from the scratch and write all the code yourself, but in most cases it's just faster to have one generated for you and delete what you don't need. The current official way is you can go to get.typo3.org to the official site package builder and can create a site package for your project. And you can choose from currently 3 site package types. One is the one that we also use in the site package tutorial. It's more for educational purposes. The other 2 are one site package based on the Bootstrap package and one site package based on fluid style content. The one we are using in our tutorials is the site package tutorial, and it will come with some things like example content blocks that you might probably not need in your project, but that are there for demonstration to teach you how to do, for example, a new content block. So if you are using this site package tutorial, be aware you will have to delete stuff. It's not thought to be used in production, but of course you can change it into something that you can use in production. Then you have to choose the TYPO3 version and input some data like your name, your company, whatever. And then you can download a zip file, and you can just move this zip file into your packages folder and unzip it there to a folder of the correct name. And on the download page, you can actually get the commands that you will need to install the site package. So they are also displayed right here on the get-typo3.org page. Another cool way to generate a site package for you is, this is once more the installation of the site package via Composer. And now comes the new cool alternative. Stefan Frünken and I have been working on the new extension Kickstarter, and we are planning to move it into the namespace Friends of TYPO3 soon. We plan to do it here, but unfortunately Stefan is not here currently. And then it will be a community project. And with this extension Kickstarter, you can just install it as a dev dependency, flush the cache once, and then you can use the command to make yourself a site package. And it will lead you via console through the same questions that we just saw on the web page. And you can just create the site package without having to go to get-typo3.org and fiddling with the inputs and whatever. So I really like this way. It's quite fast, and you can also keep the Kickstarter extension to make more changes later on to your site package, because it cannot only create an extension, it can also extend an extension. For example, you could use another command to add an additional site set to your site package. So here you also have to answer the same questions, and then you will get some instructions on how to install the extensions. We still have to improve them some, because the information from where to where you have to move your site package is still missing. So, first thing you will need is a page tree. And the example site package for the site package tutorial already comes with a site tree that you can import, and it's prepared for you. And if you are depending on the other site packages, then you have to create a page tree yourself. So you can use the command extension setup to import the tree, but it will take a while, so be patient and wait a few minutes for the page tree to load. And now we come to the new stuff that's new in TYPO3 13. Everything that we did until now was just what we had to do since many versions. So the first thing we need to do is include the site set in our site configuration. So we go to the menu Site Management Sites in the TYPO3 backend. We edit the site configuration of the site we want to work on, and we make sure that our new site package is chosen down here. If you imported the page tree, as I showed you in the step before, then the site packages set will already be included. And now comes the cool thing. That's it. No TypoScript record needed, no fiddling with dependencies. You are all set. You can now open the front page of your new site. But if you have no TypoScript record, I mean, what are we doing about dependencies, for example? What if I want to use Georg Ringer News or something else? We can manage such dependencies in our site package, in the main set of the site package. You can find it, this folder was downloaded, and in the folder, this folder ddemo is the site package that we downloaded. And now you can find in the configuration folder the sets, and here the set of our site package. And in this set, there is a file called config.yaml, and there we can handle all the dependencies. As a standard, we only have dependencies on fluid styled content, and you could import all other kinds of dependencies to other sets. Each set has a name that you find on top here, and you can define dependencies by putting the name of another set into here. And the cool thing is, it cannot happen to you that you're importing the same set twice, because maybe two sets would depend on the same set, because all of this is resolved automatically for you. And you don't have, all of this is saved in the file system. You don't have to deploy dependencies anymore if you manage them before in a TypoScript record. So I think this is a really great improvement. But what about configuration? Maybe we want to have something that my integrator can configure, that we can change from time to time, and we don't have a TypoScript record. So how do we do this? We don't have TypoScript constants. So where do I put my TypoScript to configure something? The site set provided here by our site package builder can contain setup TypoScript. It can even contain constants TypoScript for backward compatibility reasons. But I will show you afterwards why we don't really need to introduce constants for new TypeScript projects anymore. So it will have a setup TypoScript, and this setup TypoScript can just do imports. And here I put all my TypeScript files into these folders and import them automatically. And then below you can see I will have my TypoScript in there, which is also, some parts of this might look new to you. I will explain it later on. This is just about where to put this TypoScript. So, what about the settings? Where do I put them? I don't want my integrators have to write a file and insert TypoScript if they just want to configure some small thing. And that is another new cool feature of TYPO3 the site settings. Do not confuse them with the system settings. They are settings on the system level. They are true for the complete system. And then there are settings that are only available within one site. So that also means they are not available when you are, for some reason, outside of the site context, like in a command, for example, in a console command. And yeah, these site settings, they can be edited by integrators, for example, or by administrators within your project. And you can use input fields and do at least some validation here. And all of these fields that are available for your site package, you can configure them. And they are all found in this file, settings definitions.yaml. And in this file, you can define a type, a default value, some description and label, and you can put them into a category so as they are easier to find. And they are an improvement of what you would have done with a TypoScript constant before. And they are available in many contexts out of the box. You don't have to do any kind of tricks to get them. At first, you can use them like TypoScript constants all over your setup TypoScript. So that is something we already know. We have done this for ages. But they are also available in the PAGEVIEW config. So no more fiddling with how can I get my value, for example, the root folder or the menu. How can I get this value into TypoScript and into PAGEVIEW config? It will just be there within the site context. And it is available in the fluid templates of the page view. The page view is the new TypoScript object that I will show you later to build a page. And the settings are just available there without any further fiddling of passing on variables, whatever. So that's also quite cool. There are, however, some places where site settings are not yet available in TypoScript 13, and there you would still have to pass them on like normal TypoScript constants. That's especially in XBase plugins. For XBase plugins, you would have to pass through the settings to have them available there. And in fluid templates, if you are not using the new page view object, and fluid templates are still widely used, for example, to style content elements, etc., and site settings are not available there out of the box yet. So I heard that the core guys have some plans on improving this. So, the page view. I have already talked about it some, and it's a really great thing. It's not that different from the fluid template, but it brings you a lot of small things that make your life easier. Of course, there's documentation on that, so you can go there and check it out. But I want to show you some information. You can just define it like any other TypoScript object by saying I have a page, and on this page my content object 10 is PAGEVIEW. And then you can define the path, as you have known from before, but it's only one path. I don't have to define template path, partial path, layout path anymore, but I just have to define one path. And the other, the subfolders in this will automatically be chosen for partials and layouts and templates. And the number 10 you can see here in defining the path is just a site setting from what I showed you earlier. If you want to make this configurable, for example, we can choose another path via this site setting. And here you can see the folders. One thing changed. The templates folder is not called templates anymore, but pages. And the other folders have still the naming as we know it. Partials and layouts, they just work like before. So this is where you can put all your templates for the whole page on the site. And if you're doing a debug output, you will see that you get a lot of information that you didn't automatically get in a fluid template before. You can get all the settings, as I have shown before. You can get information on the site, on the currently used language, on the page, that is the page record. And if it's defined, you can get the content, but for that you have to define a data processor that I will show you afterwards. So you don't have to do tricks anymore to pass on all these kind of information. For example, if I want to link the logo of my page to the root page, I can just choose the root page ID. I can get it from a site, and I can get the information which logo to use from my settings, and I don't have to pass on all these values with various tricks that I have seen in the past. For example, by using C object that then got its information from TypoScript, or by passing on some variables to the fluid template, but you can just use them whenever you are working on a page template. Now about the page content, we of course also might want to style that one. And first we need to output it. For that there's a new data processor which makes it easier displaying page content. I think it's not perfect yet in TYPO3 13, and I have great hopes that in TYPO3 14 it will be even easier to use for you. But for the time being, you need to define a data processor. And once you do this, the variable content will contain your content in the fluid template. And you still have to use a C object to output the content, but all information that the C object uses is already contained in the records that are passed to you via content. And for each section that you have in your page layout, there will be one variable in the content object, and then you can just pass go with that, go through all records in that area with a for each, and pass them on to the C object. And how a column or a field is called in the page layout, you can define that via page tsconfig in the backend layout section. There is a new variable here called identifier, with which you can give an identifier to each backend layout section, so you don't have to call them anymore by number or whatever. And you can even define some slide modes in the page tsconfig. For example, if I have a stage and the stage is not defined on a subpage, I want to use whatever is inserted in the parent page, then I can just use this slide mode slide, and everything else will work automatically for me. And then we can use these different names to output different page layout sections in different areas of my template. What I usually do is I define a partial which can render any kind of content, so that when with TYPO3 14, hopefully the way to display content element will improve. I just have to change it in one place in my partial and not all over. So this is what my content HTML is looking like, and this will also be provided to you by the site package from the site package tutorial. So I think this is a good way to prepare for the future. So, what else could we want to do with a site package? We, if we are using fluid style content, we of course want to change the design of the content elements, and we might want to also change the settings of fluid style content. And all of this can now also be done in the settings, because fluid style content was also made completely settings aware with TYPO3 13, so you can just have a look in the site settings what you can change here, and define, for example, another path to the templates where you can override templates. You can do settings like the maximum bytes of images, or what should happen when you click on an image to get an overview of the image or something like that. All of this can be configured in here. And now, of course, you would probably not want to save this kind of settings for fluid style content into your site configuration folder, in case you're not deploying the site configuration folder. And what you can do is you can use this tool to edit all the settings, and then you can go on the top right, YAML export, and can export all the settings you just made into a YAML file, and you can put this YAML file into your site package extension folder, into the site set, and save it there, so you don't have to put it into the site configuration folder. And then you can just have it under version control, but still allow your editors or administrators to do changes to the other settings. So I think this is also a very cool feature here, the YAML export button. And after I define some paths to override the templates of fluid style content, I can just, for example, change the templates for menus or something like that, or maybe have rounded corners for all my images, or whatever you might want to do with fluid style content. So, what if the content elements provided by fluid style content are not enough for you? Then you can use content blocks. Content blocks is not completely in TYPO3 core, but it is supported by the TYPO3 core, and it is in the namespace friends of TYPO3 now. That means there is not just one company behind the content blocks, but it is an official project of the TYPO3 community. And each and every one of you could or can contribute to it if you feel the need. And it's pretty safe to use, I think, because there is also an extension that you can use to export content blocks into pure TYPO3 core elements that you can then use only with the core without even having content blocks installed. So that's possible, but I think it's for now quite safe to rely on content blocks. And the side package tutorial has also a section on custom content blocks. But of course, if you want to learn more about content blocks than just our basic examples, you would have to go to their menu. And the example side package from the side package builder comes with 2 example content blocks, but it does not require you to install the extension content blocks. It just suggests to install it. So first thing, if you want to use the content blocks, you would have to install Friends of TYPO3 content blocks. And then, of course, delete the cache and make sure your database is up to date. And then you can have a look at the 2 examples of content blocks that's provided by the site package builder. There's a carousel and jumbotron. And you can look at the files and after you flush the cache and did the extension setup to have your tables up to date, you can already use them in the TYPO3 backend. There are 2 content elements already defined, as I said, and they automatically appear in the create new page content wizard. And if you want to learn more about how to do content blocks, then you can just go on the page, on the menu of the content blocks themselves. And of course, there's a Slack channel where you can ask questions and all these things we know. So, thank you for listening. And other questions? Okay, I told my team they have to prepare some questions. No?